what we do is I'm not doing the audio yet, but
Okay.
we'll do the saves the video. So here we go.
All right.
We're officially on YouTube.
On YouTube. All right, man.
Yeah. So um, here it goes. All right, man. Radio blasphemy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I'm on with Milo. For those that are on my YouTube channel now, those that may or may not know, this is the first. I'm learning how to use YouTube for streaming. Radio Blasphemy is basically just a conversation stream where we record it and eventually turn it into a podcast. For my Facebook Live people, you guys have already been on board, so you guys are familiar with it. Uh, basically, um, all this is just talking. It's conversation. That's it. Uh, we're pretty blunt. Hey, Tammy, we're pretty blunt on what we talk about here. We're pretty blunt on opinion. If you're sensitive to that sort of thing, which is I think the first thing I want to talk about, then this is not for you to listen to. We're not mean. We're not hateful. But the truth is, we live in a society now that is soft. So
Yeah.
I think the first thing let's get on it. We'll discuss a few things. Even um, the current crisis, I think we need to always discuss it. But I want to discuss something when it comes to the crisis. Um, what resources we have, because I think people are a little confused as to what resources are truly going to be available. For those that know or don't know, I'm a business owner, so I got some things, and um, for those of the people that have come to visit me in my establishment, don't judge me. For the most part, I think I'm a relatively good person, but I do have strong opinions and I like to talk. Hey, what up, Jose? So, for those that don't have Facebook, hey, Christy, for those that don't have Facebook, we're doing Facebook live, YouTube live now. So you can go to the YouTube and look us up on radioblasphemy.com, and everybody gets a chance now to join in the conversation. Maybe you don't get to comment, but you get to. I guess you do get to comment. you,
Yeah. You could comment on the side.
yeah, I see it.
Uh,
Very cool.
yeah. They could also donate super chats. Like if you want your comment to be answered or whatever. You could make a donation to your YouTube,
Love
and
it.
yeah, and it'll just pop up. The comment will pop up on the side or something.
Very cool. Very cool. So first thing I kind of want to discuss is I have a group chat in which we kind of discussed this, and these are the people that I typically like to bring on, Milo being one of them. And plus the Facebook page. So there's things that are going on there. We're also on Instagram now. Uh, God, I'm becoming social media savvy. So, but what we're finding is as a society, uh, the sensitivity of people. In other words, you can't discuss so many things. People are oversensitive, and feelings are hurt. I mean, that's to me. I'm an old guy now, and we're Generation X. That's what they refer to us now.
Yeah.
And man, we were some hard asses in a few words, and that's I don't know if it's something to be proud of, but I'm certainly proud of it.
No, it's a good thing. I mean, this whole political correctness. I mean, it's kind of dumbing down a lot of people, and it leads to sensitivity, and and then you have to watch what you say at times because people they just don't understand, or they just uh, they're just snowflakes or something. That's all you could say about them. It's and then the other way to deal with it is be out politically correct the politically correct. It's the only way to beat them. Um,
Yeah,
you might have to say some really extreme things, or put out some extreme solutions, but It is what it is. But I don't like the whole back. I don't care what they say.
Well, see,
I'm not offensive, but yet I'm going to speak my mind no matter what. So
well, and this is what I'm finding. And let's start at a small scale and build it up. For people that own businesses, you say the wrong thing on social media, and you are punished. You're everybody gets on there, and what's their term? Put you on blast. And
yeah,
and look, I am entitled to my opinion. You may disagree with it, but just because you disagree with it doesn't mean that I should be punished for it. So it causes people to be nervous about what they do and put on social media. We still have that freedom, and I think it's a wonderful freedom, and it should be afforded to us consistently. And I know I understand you once you sign up for social media, you almost give that the right an amplification because now uh, you know people will judge you on it. People are more you're more apt to be heard and seen, which is
yeah.
good, and of course there's a consequence.
Well, that's why I think it's good to separate your personal. You can have your own social media for your personal use. Family, close friends, and then like for radio blasphemy, it's another thing. And then you have your work or your career or business side of it. You keep that separate.
Yeah.
And if somebody puts you on blast, then like hey, that wasn't me. I mean, my name is so and so. This is not.
Well, this is the
You
thing.
could have always been mine.
I'm full on here. I put myself out here, and I have strong opinions. I'm not, and so for a little history, Radio Blasphemy at one point was I tried to keep it very anonymous, and I didn't want to want anybody to know that I was doing it, and it was to me it's a very creative thing. I was ahead of the podcast thing before all these podcasts that were out there that are out there
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I was way ahead of that, but I had to turn it down because I had a business that I had to worry about, and that was before everybody was so PC. What about now?
Yeah, how long was it? It was what, like
No,
7, 8?
no, no. It was 10. I started technically 12 years ago.
Jesus, yeah, that was
Uh, 10, 11 years ago. And,
yeah,
and really, it was a lot harsher now. I think I've matured a little bit. But, it's, you know, this is kind of the thing. People have opinions, and then I think they have, if you will, dark opinions or their own personal thoughts. So they in other words, and I hate to say it, it sounds almost creepy, but things that are to them. And what I mean by that, let's talk about stereotypes because I'm not even going to go to racism. Let's talk about stereotypes. Everybody has a stereotype, and everybody believes. Help me out here, Milo, about other people's stereotypes. Okay, so
oh, I give you a few.
yeah, so
Asian women drivers.
okay, exactly.
I'm sorry, but that's true.
Okay, see, but if you discuss that, if you say
Yeah,
that,
you can't. Yeah, people get.
people will get their feelings hurt. Me, I'm particularly I'm Mexican. Lord knows if my culture has more than enough stereotypes to fuel all kinds of
Oh,
jokes
really?
for years. But if you discuss them, if somebody from another nationality or another culture, another race discusses them, you're punished for that. It's like, listen, there's no harm. And this is, I think, one of the things that I put on the page that talks about racism. I'm not I'm not a supporter of racism, but racism involves hate. I don't hate anybody. if it's that simple. I don't hate. That's such a powerful word to use the word hate. Don't hate. But do I find stereotypes funny? Do I find the what some people are perceived, their cultures, how they're perceived, entertaining and comical? Sure, I think we all do. There are
Because it's
prejudices.
true. It's true. It's just a lot of those stereotypes. I'm sorry to say, it's just true.
Yeah,
But people are afraid to look at it. Especially different races. I mean, I'm sure like we could go on about like Mexican stereotypes and stuff. But if somebody was black on our podcast and we'd ask them, well, what are your stereotypes? And maybe we could, it's a little bit different. But you're right. It is a lot of people do. They get offended, especially if you're talking about other cultures or people's stereotypes.
And then there's a whole other level. If y'all can hear my microwave is going off, I guess people are eating around here. And then there's also prejudices, and those are predisposition about what you feel about other people, other cultures, other nationalities, without knowing them. And some of them hold true. Some of them are ridiculous, but you know, um, it doesn't matter. They exist. They truly exist, and there's nothing we can.
No,
There's
there's
no.
nothing, but it just says prejudice. There's racism, there's prejudice. A lot of people can't distinguish the difference between that. And then there's I don't know what you call it, but slight prejudice or like stereotyping and
I think
stuff.
stereotyping is a good way.
But
I think that's where you really kind of look at it, and there's differences. And I think it's how you act towards them that it's where it makes a difference.
yeah,
And then
I mean,
and then
I think a lot of people who are prejudiced. I mean, they just show their ignorance. I mean, just lack of real life experience or talking to different experiencing different cultures. That's obvious in a person that's truly prejudiced. At least a racist will give you a real reason why they're racist.
it's not necessarily a
Prejudice.
valid reason, but hey,
Yeah, I know it's not right. They have their beliefs or as twisted as they are, but at least okay. Well, I guess if I could understand that. Do I agree with it? No. But somebody that's prejudiced, that's just they're just a lot of them are really dumbasses.
right. So having addressed that, what happens is, are we, and we're not just talking about cultures. We're talking about sexual orientations. That's a whole other thing, and it falls in that same category because that's a cultural difference between you know uh, what you consider straight people, people that are bi, people that are straight gay, and okay, not straight gay, but just are gay.
Yeah,
There's
no, they probably are. I'm a straight gay man, or who knows? Every day is a different gender label, so.
which is entertaining. I'm honestly, and again, this becomes almost comical because I'm confused about all of it. I don't identify as anything. You know what? I like the concept that I identify as human, and as identifying as human, nature says there's two things: male and female, and that's the end of it. I know that you may be consider yourself this or that, and that's great. I respect that. In all honesty, I do, but don't expect me to understand it because I truthfully cannot. Because my mind can't conceive it the way that you do. I'm not gonna bash you for it, but don't get upset with me when I don't understand it because, and that's not for my lack of trying, but listen, I think most of us spend a lot of time trying to live to not concern ourselves with,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know, and I'm putting all this mildly. There's a lot of people that have a different approach to all of this, but I'm just trying to be mild because there's no need to so many people have a screw them attitude. It's like, no, you don't need to accept it. You don't need to even fully understand it. But I think some understanding, not understanding the thing, but understanding them as that they have this belief and go along with it. I'm not going to give you your preference. You want me to call you it? I'll call you it. I don't know what it is, but if that's what you want, but that's your name as far as I'm concerned now. You know?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people. I think you know, people of different genders. They have their rights to. They have a right to pursue their rights, and they're human. But the fact that on both sides, whether they're whatever gender, or you have these gender cheerleaders, they if you don't care about it, then you're anti whatever.
Right.
Or like, to me, it's like, whatever they want, I don't care. I'm busy living my life, and
Yeah. So
no, it's not a I'm more worried about the stock market than than was it Bruce Jenner or Caitlyn Jenner or whatever,
exactly.
being on the cover of Playboy
care.
magazine or something.
Don't care. No, I get you. I get sometimes I get corrected for like because I don't care. Let's talk on this briefly. And RadioBlasphemy.com, the Facebook page is very interesting because there's so many. Uh, just in the 2 weeks period, just so you all know, we have had about 5,500 engagements after being dormant for about 8 years. All of a sudden, we have 5,500 engagements. Thank you. That means you're all are at least paying attention, which is very, very nice. But I want to speak in one of these engagements. We're going to talk about this briefly. Uh, but we were talking about how the wet markets in China have restarted, which is astounding.
Yep.
If you look at the numbers, China's not reporting any new cases while the world is still going up. I find that incredibly hard to believe. So personally, I can't trust those numbers. Don't trust them. So them going back to normal, it just seems odd to me. And we'll leave it at that because obviously I can never prove it.
Even CNN has said don't count on those numbers or whatever. They don't even include Chinese reports on if they're recovering from this or not. Honestly, they probably are still dealing with it. They're just trying to save face because they know that the world's looking at them like this crap came out of China, and it is due to wet markets, unsanitary food processing practices. I mean, to me, and it goes again. It goes towards the culture aspect of it. I'm like, yes, they eat exotic animals or bats, whatever they eat. Whether it's because they have a lack of, they don't have enough food. I understand that they're poor, okay, but my thing is, at least be sanitary about, how they process or prepare their foods. That makes a big difference,
Right. Culturally, we can't.
This is not the first time that viruses have come out of China due to wet markets.
So culturally speaking, we can't. I don't judge them for what they eat. That's their business. They don't, just like in the same token, they don't come and tell me, you taco eating beaner, yeah, beaner. I said it all. They don't tell me what I can and cannot eat. That's fine. I don't. Doesn't bother me. That's what you choose to eat. That's your choice. Or that's what's available to you. You eat what you can. That's the history of man. Hello. But
you could anybody could eat anything they want. You're not going to get sick. I mean, if you want to, we could eat bats or elephants or horses. You will not get sick if it's processed and prepared in a sanitary environment. That's just what we want. That's what the world is asking China to do. Just clean it up a little bit.
Yes.
Do what you have to do, but know that unsanitary conditions, it's not good, and it's not going to end up good.
So going back to that, so when somebody posted that, and we were talking about that within the, and you made a comment, and it was, and I actually defended you because typically I don't
Yeah,
I try not to get involved because it's, but it was the comment was made by a young man, and he basically said, racist much. That sounded like a very Trump thing, and I'm like, no, this was an opinion based on observation and what it is, what we see in the Western world as,
mhm.
unsanitary. They may not see it, but you were dead on. Milo just used some very colorful language, but he wasn't promoting hate. He wasn't. He was just like, uh, he just like, hey, that's what they're doing is wrong, and this is their problem. Now, is he wrong for addressing things that way? I don't believe so. Then I went back and just typed it out as uh, Milo, take notes, and this is how you should have said it. And I was, and my sarcasm was way up there because I'm thinking you have your right to say it any way you want, but obviously somebody's feelings were hurt because you pronounced it that way. You wrote it that way, and it was interesting to me. I'm not being critical even to
But
them.
yeah, I know. But I went back and I did comment back. I'm like, well, what I really meant by that is, you could eat
Absolutely.
whatever you want. Human beings can eat basically anything other than toxic waste. Uh,
Burritos.
as long as it's processed in a sanitary, clean conditions, then okay, let's have a bat farm. Okay, let's eat dogs, but at least breed them so that way the products will be the same. Butcher them the same way.
Right.
Dispose of what you cannot eat. Um, you know, that's basically what I told this person, and they're like, "Oh, okay, I understand it now." Like, okay,
Yeah. And it's, I think part of the beauty that I'm finding there is that it's very and this is just to me, I'm sure you're part of many pages, and I know I am as well, how we have the ability to discuss things. You know what, give me 1 second, I just realized something. I turned off my my chats, and I'm missing what if people are commenting. I think I need we need
oh,
a little bit of fuel, if you will. No comments, just a lot of people joining in.
lunch. Okay,
Felix, you're my financial guy. Sooner than later, we need to talk. I need to. We need to discuss things. Um, because there's a lot of things that I'm gonna touch on it, but I'm gonna touch on it like the ignoramus that I am. I never claimed to be a professional or anything. Um, I know I was supposed to write there's a guideline, right? But I just so well, yes, unemployment and what benefits we have, and some of the stimulus package. I want to kind of touch on that briefly, because the more you think about it, the more people explore what's actually out there, the more ridiculous it sounds,
yeah. There's a
and
lot of there's a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to what we are going to get as far as financial help, especially for the smaller businesses. Um, Other than we're getting $1,200 or $2,400, um, it might extend unemployment compensation. Um, they may get more per for 15 days or every 2 weeks. And obviously, the big corporations, the airlines, the travel industry, they're going to get a cut from this, $2 trillion package. But as far as like small businesses, I don't know. I'm gonna ask somebody that.
it's a small amount. I saw a post, and I wish I had wrote the numbers, but it's ridiculous. They're talking
Yeah,
about
it's not enough. It's
nowhere
not enough.
nowhere near enough. Uh, I think they benchmarked, I got it. I'm not gonna quote because I don't want to be completely misinformative. Even though this is Gonzo journalism, let's just say it wasn't enough for the amount of businesses that are going to apply, small businesses that are going to apply versus what's actually available. It's basically a waiting list. You know what that means? We're not going to get anything. I hate to sound so pessimistic, but that's at the end of the day, we're not going to get much, and it's sad. It really is. It's sad because uh, small business is the backbone of of this country. Corporations like Target and some of the bigger grocery chains and some of these restaurants that the larger ones like McDonald's. Even though I understand they are franchises, they will survive this. They will. Why?
Yeah.
Because they have that kind of backing. But the mom and pop shops, I we're for the most part going to be gone, or we're going to. Now I'll give you a personal for me. We're a small business, and um, for us it's a massive reset, and we're going to basically, if you will, almost zero ourselves out, and then we're going to climb right back. Hopefully, we have a market, which means there's a need for it, and once that happens, then we're back up and running. But how many people can say they're going to be able to do that? For example, we got lucky with so many things that essentially we're have almost the ability to zero out. There's a few things here and there that are going to be problematic, but at the end of the day, we have that opportunity. Also, and I'm gonna throw this out there for those of you that do have small businesses, and uh, it's been we have such a great network of people that know things. Um, for us, we have a policy, an insurance policy which covers acts of God or governmental interruption, which under I think this current circumstance we qualify.
It is. Yep.
So if we qualify, there's a little that's a more realistic uh, branch of or help that we can get. So that's we're banking on that because the Fed's not really going to help us. In this case, the insurance companies are probably going to need that money if we're going to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. And yes, I washed my hands right before I started. So for those of you that are worried about me touching my face,
Yeah. No, the good thing the insurance companies are still working. They're still in business. They think that
for now,
what this help is going to be too little, too late. I'm afraid for a lot of businesses.
yeah,
But one thing's for sure, a lot of businesses might bounce back up. A lot of places are going to be very busy. A lot of goods. There are going to be a lot of sales everywhere.
yeah,
Um,
I agree.
People are going to want to go out. They're going to want to go to restaurants, bars. Basically, the businesses that have been hit the hardest in my opinion, will probably bounce back pretty quick.
Mine is particularly the service industry. So this
Service
is
industry. Well,
yeah.
yeah.
So my speculation is this: that it's not going to be as quick because there's going to be so many people affected by unemployment that it's going to take them a minute to feel comfortable again to go back out and spend their money, if you will.
But it also depends on your clientele.
Yes.
If they're
Well, mine is
a high tax
yes,
bracket, then
yes, and
more
it is.
likely they're still working
So,
from home and they'll still need it.
yeah. So I'm in my case I'm fairly confident and it's a glimmer of hope. Everything else will probably fall apart before we are able to truly bounce back. But what do? You fight, and I hope all of you that own small businesses that you all fight and have enough tenacity to weather the storm. Um,
Yeah.
uh, Having said that, um, one of our followers here, because I put it out there on our on the page as to what they wanted, what topics they wanted to discuss, and then I'm gonna hit something else. Remind me about mortgage and rents and all that. Mm-hmm. So, what was interesting, she posted that uh, people at Trader Joe's, and let's go with the groceries. People are out there buying 1 and 2 items.
Hmm.
What kind of, just to get out of the house? And I understand that, that we have certain abilities, certain rights still left afforded to us to get out. But people buy what you need for 2 weeks. Don't make it a daily trip to the grocery store. That's part of the problem. You are causing uh, you're helping to further this, because you at this point most people don't know if they're contaminated and or infected, I should say, not contaminated, but same thing, I guess.
Yeah, same difference.
So you're making this problem worse. Go out once every 2 weeks. Buy, and I know, oh well, I don't have enough money for 2 weeks. Figure it out. But she specifically said that they were buying an apple and a power bar.
That's
And
stupid. Yeah.
it's like, where's your consideration? That you have more money than I understand. You want to make this your outing, but if you want to make this your outing, isolate yourself at the park, somewhere where you're not in contact with other people, not with the general public. Make this an urgency. But we're not. I think people here are still not grasping it. People in New York, let's face it. Let's just address New York for a second. Those people have a lot of attitude to them. You're not telling me what to do. Okay, well, here's the problem. Um, if we don't follow these truly, almost to the T, uh, um, guidelines, this is the problem that's not going to go away until we start to. And what are we waiting for? For people to truly start dying in mass? I'm going to put this out there. I saw the video of the truck being loaded up with bodies, and now you're saying, well, that may be true or not. It freaked me out. It brought me to tears at the idea that human life is being spent that way. And there's so much that we can do, and there's so many that are not doing it.
Yeah, I think not to get into the conspiracy realm of things, but there was some footage that CNN had used the Italian hospital footage, and they were passing it off as a New York hospital footage. So
Okay.
it didn't make sense. Like, okay, just trying to maybe sensationalize or make it look a lot worse for ratings.
Right. Oh Lord, if we get into that, that's a very good one. We'll save that one for later, because I believe that all media outlets are set for ratings, and people just buy into. Listen, Cheryl, can you look and see, because I'm not getting any comments, and
we only have 2 people following, myself and.
Okay. This is a duddy show, I guess.
Yeah. Oh well.
No, it's okay.
We repost it anyway.
It reposts, and that's the beauty of this.
You record it, repost it, and just put it out there on Facebook or Instagram. So
I know for a fact, I've had people tell me personally that if they can't listen to the feed, they will go back and listen to it at different times.
Does people click on? Is that how you do it? To get people to talk
about it? Yes. So I'm okay with this. The podcast itself, if you remember correctly, because you did a couple with us, we had nobody listening at, and then
but a lot of stuff that we talked about, it's happened.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem. That's the problem with people like us. Sometimes it seems like we're way ahead of it, and then when it happens, we're like, I wish I had been wrong. I can't tell you how many times I thought about that. I wish I had been wrong.
Exactly. I wish I was wrong a lot of times with some of this stuff that's happened.
I agree. So having said that, mortgages and landlords, financial people. We'll talk about Felix in a second, but because I won't talk about him. I won't have him come and give us. So I'm reading these. People are talking about pay your mortgage, do this and do that, and what's I'm reading now. is that, for example, tomorrow's the first, so you're going to begin to see certain things happen. March, when this started to unroll, was maybe after the first week.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're living 3 weeks. So most people at the beginning of the month had the the funds and the opportunity to pay their mortgages and their rents. April 1st, not so much. I think a lot of people are losing their jobs.
April Fools for them. So.
Yeah. So and I want to share this thought, and I may be wrong for this, but what happens when uh you know mortgage companies, obviously they want to get paid because on the back end they have to pay investors, which are in your stock markets and what have you. That's where the money goes. So what happens when they stop receiving the money? And I know that they're promoting, please pay us. But what happens, and hear me out, if this lasts another 3 months, you don't have enough money. You paid your mortgage, sure, you have somewhere to live, but you're gonna fight with somebody to drag you out. But what happens if you have only 2 weeks worth of food, but you paid your mortgage? What happens at the end of those 2 weeks? And I want somebody to talk to me about that. Which comes first? For me, survival mode came on 2 weeks ago. I've been, there's things that I prepared myself for because I'm in survival mode. There's those that have these that are essential employees, and of course they're going to continue to get a check, and sure, their lives are continuing as normal. But what about those that life isn't is going to continue as normal, at least not for the time being? What happens?
I think the Fed should have. I don't know. I didn't read the whole stimulus package, but I think they should have. That was the first thing that they should have done is, okay, these mortgage companies, cut them, cut them a check for the time being, encourage whoever could pay their mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
and if they can't, or at least hold off, we'll give you a month forgiveness, 2 months, and then these companies could, at their discretion, pay a little bit extra after this is all ended.
Right. Well, the problem.
That's one way of doing it, but not sure if they proposed that on this bill, which
I don't think so.
I think that's the first thing they should have done. Is that
the problem with that is then if the bill gives the money to the mortgages, then it begins to look like a bailout again. I would think, at least.
Yeah, that's one part of it. But they should have emphasized that this is not an economic problem. We were doing okay before. This is
Right.
a pandemic.
Exactly.
This is like way out of our control. So
exactly.
If they were to, highlight that, then people will look at it more as a noble cause. Okay, we're not giving. The other problem is that, there's once you give corporations money, there's no regulation. You can't tell the companies, oh, you can't use this to do your stock buybacks, or, there's no such, we don't know there's the whole fairy tale about trickle down economy or anything. A lot of people, a lot of investors, CEOs will probably pocket that money.
Exactly. And I think that's what it is, because that's exactly what we saw 12 years ago, where they did that. And so I think the American people as a whole are a little bitter about that, because how many people actually
that's
were
the reason
benefiting.
why everybody's getting $1,200. Because that's this time it was for the people, supposedly, but they had to do that. They had to do that because there's no way that a lot of people put up with, people are dying, getting sick, and yet, Congress is giving out checks to these, corporate welfare handouts,
And let's face it, $1,200 is nowhere near enough. I think you missed it the other day, where we talked about 330 million people in the U.S. times $1,200 equals about 400 billion. So that puts 1.6 trillion in unknown hands, really. And that's still not enough. And at the end of the day, is it wise for you to hand that money to the American people? I mean, we can argue this. For me personally, pay my utilities and secure my give it to the grocery stores. And I know that sounds like communism and socialism, But at this point, I think we're better served that way because that guarantees us X amount of time to be able to survive because that is true survival. You know, what will people do with those $1,200? If there's a lot of smart people that will, you know, spend that money wisely, but there will be those that will be reckless with it. They don't need it or what have you. So for me personally, put it into utility companies, put it into the grocery stores, put it into medical. You know, to me, without those things, we're going to fall apart. Uh, Mortgage companies have always been about profit. If you ever do the math on mortgages, and I know a little bit, most of what you're paying is interest.
Interest. That's all they're.
Yeah, so
And
that's a lot
interest,
of money.
we know
That's
it's
a lot of money that's being applied. You know, when a lot of times they'll say, you know, make an interest only payment. How about being satisfied with the uh, uh, principal payment, a principal only payment, and you know that's a lot easier to handle. You know, principal payments on a 30-year in the beginning, just so you all know, is about $100.
yeah.
And the following month it was $101. Month after that it's like about $104. You know what I mean? That amount are nominal on a
And most
$1,500
people
loan
don't get to pay their
mortgage.
principal in a 30-year mortgage when they're probably like 6 years left in their mortgage. So you pay like really 2/3 interest.
Yes, that's about right. So you know, but see that's when you get into greed, and and I know that's arguable because you know those obviously that money goes into uh, what they call mortgage-backed securities, and those that's essentially what you're paying into people that are investors. Then that's what the market holds. But you know when the Fed owns so many of these loans, who are you paying the money to then? You know, government bonds, is that where it goes? Like you know, there's a whole scale. You guys educate yourselves because that's where the money goes. Then you're that's what they're buying bonds. Um, you know, we were talking about the markets the other day. Today I saw it dip a little bit, but you know, there's for the last yesterday there was positive movement, and I think there was positive movement on Friday, which leads me to believe who's buying. You know, they're savvy investors, so I can't even begin to argue that. But who's buying? That's very questionable to me because this is not the time to buy. Unemployment 3 million in one day, and that number is just going to go up. Who knows? Mm. I want to talk a little bit about censorship because I found this interesting. Somebody sent me on. I'm not going to call it a documentary, but you know this conspiracy theory video, which is what we always get to see. And if you guys anybody wants to send me a private message, I'll send it to you. And basically, what it talks about is what the CDC knew in advance. So I posted it to the Radio Blasphemy Facebook page.
It got took down.
And it got taken down. And I put a disclosure on there that this was not fact checked and for entertainment purposes only. You know what?
Yeah, I put that Nicki Minaj, you know, her rant about coronavirus, all that remix that they said somebody did. I put that out there right away. Like a few minutes later, it was taken down. A lot of YouTubers cannot even say COVID-19 or coronavirus, or they get demonetized. So that's like you can't. You know, they're suppressing a lot of opinions before they could become opinions. So yeah, it is going on a lot. It's a lot of shutdowns, a lot of posts taken down, a lot of news articles just disappear.
Just for an update, it's radioblasphemy.com, and the conversation is with Milo today. Some of you know him, some of you don't. Very colorful character. I like his opinion on many things. Kind of fearless when it comes to talking, and it seems like less and less we have that these days.
Very opinionated.
Very opinionated. I know he pisses off a lot of people.
Especially the South Side.
Just so y'all know, the South Side of Chicago. but he is very opinionated, and because he is opinionated, sometimes pisses people off, and I think part of what we have on the page is we need that. We need people to have opinions, people to talk, because you're not always going to like what's out there. Sometimes you need to take a different point of view. Uh, we do. I don't expect you ever. This is part of the mission statement, if you will. Just know that there are other opinions and accept that there are other opinions. You don't have to like them or even agree with them, but you have to sometimes hear them maybe you can begin to form new opinions. You don't have to change yours, but you can form new ones.
That's so true.
And just so you all know, I was drinking a Monster, so now I'm caffeinated. This episode is brought to you by Monster.
By Monster. So, yeah, like the old days when
I'm glad you remember that. So in the old days,
I paid, in Impale Ale, brewer microbreweries and stuff,
So hopefully one day I can develop this to where I do get true sponsorships. That would be really nice. But for now, this is fun to me.
Oh, there is on YouTube, man. You get a certain amount of viewers. Companies will approach you to plug in their Kickstarter products and stuff.
Yeah, and that's okay. But this is a labor of love for me right now. It'll probably always be a labor of love. I'll probably do this just because. And as long as you people that are watching keep watching, I guess I'll keep on doing what I do because I have a lot of fun with this. Um, I like talking to people. The other day on Sunday, believe it or not, I went for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I was watching like half an hour.
And again, if you don't want to comment or what have you, send me a private message. I'm more than happy uh, to talk to you about it. If you ever want to come on and discuss
send memes.
Yeah, send memes, whatever it is. So I try to with the page. I try to make it, and I know I'm talking a little more about the page than more subjects, but I like to uh, I like to also put the lightheartedness of things. We should be able to laugh at certain things. It may feel like the end of the world, but it is not the end of the world. At least not yet.
It's far from the end of the world.
So let's continue to enjoy certain things. Let's continue to laugh. Let's continue to live, because that's really what it comes down to. Let's live, because that's what we need to do. If not, this is just going to be that much more difficult.
Having said that, I think this is a good time to reflect on. This is a lesson well deserved on the world and this country. For a long time we've had it very easy. Now people are starting to realize, like, shit, I should stay home, or I should be more with my kids. I should, save a little bit more money. Not fuck around as much. I don't have to hoard stuff, but at least, be, wise enough to, I need this. Otherwise, you're not going to find no wipies or face masks when you really need them. And I think this is a good time for even our government to realize, like, shit, we shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket. And hopefully that will come out of this, maybe for next time, because I guarantee you there'll be another virus, there'll be another pandemic.
Another crisis.
Hope not,
yeah.
But that's inevitable. So.
But that's very well put. I have to agree with you 100%. I think almost, if you will, lesson learned, and we can move ahead. I watch a few people, which I'm finding YouTube very interesting. There's some people out there that they're saying basically that we are that the old America has died, which is the one that probably faded in and as March began, and the new one will be born as this one as this crisis ends. and it's of course, you follow enough conspiracy theory nuts, which I probably fall into that category to some degree. So
Yeah, it's no longer cool to be a conspiracy theorist. They corralled us into the right wing, which we're really not. But a lot of people, yeah.
So I don't know. If I'm going to talk about, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole and be negative about it all. But I think the way you put it, you're absolutely right. Maybe it's an awakening for those of us, and I'm gonna put myself in that category, that now we need to be a little smarter. Let's face it, the silent generation, they what they knew how to do was save money, save whatever they had. They knew to uh, make things stretch. They weren't about going out to eat. We're spoiled. I'm gonna say for myself. Sometimes, for myself personally, you went out and ate, twice a week, 3 times a week, depending on what how tired you were, and all of a sudden, I haven't. Not that I want to support small business, but or restaurants, but I'm doing nothing but home meals now, and personally, I'm having a blast with it. I'm enjoying it. We have that kind of time though, but it's one of those that things will change coming out of this.
Yeah, yeah. Shit, I ordered Chinese food today. So I don't know. That's gonna
go. but see, my man Milo's still an essential employee. For me, I'm out of business right now. So for me, I have different considerations. So I'm going to make my own Chinese food. That means I'm gonna make I got some chicken breasts, I got some vegetables. I'm gonna make a chicken stir fry. I know how to make white rice, and boom, same thing without spending it because I have the time, of course. But that's the that's the beauty of things, and kind of so much that we're realizing, because I like to use that term, that we're realizing about our current situation and what it's going to do for us coming out of it. We'll be wiser, I think. All we have to do is survive it, and I know that's a scary thing to say, but that's what we have to do: survive it. And I think most of us will.
I think we're it's not so bad here in Illinois. I think that they caught it. Well, they ain't, obviously not contained, but the whole social distancing and the mayor she get pissed off. The yuppies all out in Lincoln Park and the lakefront, or the 606 rape trail. That pushed her over the edge. Yes, keep people stay the fuck home. Stay the fuck home. I mean, at least for a couple weeks, it's not gonna kill us.
I look, when she was first coming in as a mayor, I wasn't too crazy about it. I'm not too, when you hear progressive, it's like, oh God, extreme, right? But I'm gonna tell you, every day, a little more, I become a fan of hers.
Yeah, she's not an extreme leftist.
No.
She's actually pretty,
conservative. She's really more conservative, and I appreciate that. Yes, she's
not politically correct.
No, she's not gouging the citizens of the city of Chicago like our previous mayors did. She's, well, I'm gonna tax you on this, but you know what? I'm gonna take that away too. And it's like, wait, you're actually doing for us, and I'm kind of blown away for her. Hey, everybody that listens, everybody that pays attention, hashtag Mama Lightfoot. I love that one because I think she almost feels like a mom, taking things, and I get the impression that she loves her city, but she's going to be stern with us when she needs to be, and that's amazing. That's leadership. That's what we should expect.
Yeah. I thought, getting off the subject a little bit, when she did that video, I thought she had a plate of cocaine or something, man. I was just like, whoa.
Get down.
Flour and stuff,
But yet you're right. That video yesterday, when I saw it, I'm not, I think that was for me. That was like if I was sitting and teetering on anything, it was like
yeah.
she's very
That's a first for
human.
a mayor.
That
I
she's
don't think
very
any
human.
mayor has ever done shit like that.
No, makes her very human. It makes her one of us, and she's very intelligent. I've seen when she gets when she gets put on the spot, she knows how to handle that, and that's so cool to me. You know what I mean? Because it's like God, a politician and God, maybe she's not even a true politician, but she's one of us, and that's been a very long time. Daley didn't seem like one of us. Ram, much less. Uh,
No,
you
that guy
know,
was.
so
He's more of a Washington guy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But and then who was she running against? Taxwinkle. Oh God, I dreaded
Oh my
her.
god.
I dreaded her coming on. I did, honestly. I really, really did. She made me nervous. I was like, please don't put her. She's a true politician. She was
Yeah,
a
no,
true
you don't
politician.
want anybody from Cook County running the city.
Yeah. But here we are. I feel better for it, and I think she's instilling a level of confidence. I'm not gonna say too much about Pritzker because God, he spent his first year in office pretty much just figuring out a way of taxing us. And I understand there was a deficit, but he's got carte blanche on taxing us, and that's a problem. There needs to be some cuts, but let's not cut that. Let's not even discuss that because I don't know what cuts would be. But when it's one of those that we can discuss that. But as far as him enacting certain things, when we needed action, the man was action. So I appreciate that. You know what I mean? So we'll leave that alone. Outside of his constant variation of taxes, we're just gonna have to accept it for now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that guy's old money.
Oh yeah, he's
Very old.
they talked about Rauner being money, but this guy's I think even richer than Rauner.
Oh yeah. No, this guy, his family's on every donation plaque on every museum, and it's just Snob Society is Chicago. His family's been around since like the 1900s.
Then maybe I shouldn't say anything negative about him. He may sponsor me one day. When he runs for governor again, I'll, we'll hit him up for sponsorship.
For a grant.
Yeah, for a grant. If you all want to see it, what I'm operating out of, it's kind of funny, but it doesn't matter. I think that what's important is the message. You know what's funny? I'm gonna tell y'all. The podcast was very cool for me because it's only my voice, and there's almost a mystique to not knowing who's talking. In my case now, I'm plastered in these live feeds, and I have a camera staring right at me, and I have to look at myself. It's like God, I wouldn't look at me, but hey. I'm okay with that now. I have to be. I'm comfortable.
I'm okay being on the camera and stuff. I mean, people know me. They probably know me from Facebook or from back in the day and stuff. So but I'm sure I haven't spoke to a lot of people that are friends of friends. They know me, but
yeah. All right, so for those that are listening or have listened, by all means, please share this. I think we had a good solid show today, Milo. There's still so much to talk about, so I'm gonna put limitations on how much we should go on. But
I think YouTube, you could probably. It all depends. From what I know, it's probably you could condense it down to an hour or so. Most channels. They either do 15, 20 minutes or an hour, but when they go live streaming, I've seen them go up to like 2-3 hours.
So
stuff. So
I'm gonna leave this alone for today.
Yeah.
But for all of you that listened, I'm always going to say share this with your friends. Share the page with your friends. We're on YouTube now, so RadioBlasphemy.com is the YouTube channel. By all means, share that, and I'm gonna keep promoting that. and we're gonna keep on doing this as long as I possibly can. And I appreciate those that do come in. Milo, any final comments?
No, just thank you for all who's listening, and I hope to chat soon. Definitely, because we got a lot to say, and there's a lot of things going on, and
Absolutely.
I held back today.
Yes, no, but this is the beauty. This is Milo's introduction to this. I will have him on for more. Maybe you can even do your own, Milo. Maybe you can do your own podcast, and I be your guest because I think you have so much more to offer than at times that I can.
No, you're pretty bright, man. We're on the same page, man. We're on the same page.
Oh, I think sometimes when I admire people for their thoughts and opinions, I kind of have to. I almost feel like I need to step down and listen a little bit because you guys are. I'll say it. You guys are brilliant. So that's what I'm always looking for. So again, thank you again for listening. Uh, Please stay safe. Stay at home. Let's
Wash your hands.
wash your hands. Let's hit that. Let's hit that reset button hard so in 2 weeks we can all go back out. If not, if you all keep going out and spreading this, that 2 week period keeps resetting itself, and I'm tired of that. I want to go out. I really do. I truly am following this. I don't go anywhere, and this is why I'm doing this. So if you all need to socially interact, this is the place. Uh, I really appreciate everybody. And until next time, radioblasphemy.com. Love y'all.
Right. See you guys later.